Greetings and welcome to Landguard's Structured PvP tutorial. Structured PvP in Guild Wars 2 is a fast-paced game mode in which two teams fight for control of a series of points. Holding these points gives you score towards winning the match, as does killing your opponents and, depending on the map, completing other objectives. The more points that your team controls, the faster your score will generate. Once one team hits 500 points, which blue team is going to do here in a moment in this video, that particular match is won and you move on to the next match. The goal of this video is to give an overview of structured PvP, where things are, how to get matches going, what are the different kinds of matches, and things like that. As you can see from the action here, it's can be very frantic, very fast-paced, and, well, it's a lot of fun too.
This is the Heart of the Mists, the lobby for the structured PvP area. Now initially, the first time you enter in the Heart of the Mist on an account, you will start off in this little tutorial island down here. Now this only covers the absolute bare-bone basics of structured PvP, and honestly, if you've played any amount of the PvE side of things, you pretty much already know everything in here that's going to tell you. Plus, that's kind of the point of this video. So you can feel free to skip past that and move on into the regular area. When you come into the regular area and all future entries into the Heart of the Mist, you will start off right about here. Now, going in a clockwise manner, we've got the low-level glory vendors, the PvP server browser for quick matches, a portal to Lion's Arch, a testing area that has test dummies that do not fight back or move, and actually these training robots are scattered throughout the entire map, a siege master that allows you to practice with siege weapons against targets, the combat master, I'm honestly not sure why he's there, it's just more training robots, combat training with sparring NPCs, you have one each of every character class, one here, 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 and then the rest of them scattered out through here. You have the high-level glory vendors, an underwater training area, and combat training for conquest NPCs. In two of the maps, there are NPCs that you can kill for extra points. And so you've got the two monsters down here, and then you've got the Lord killing practice over here. Be warned, these are not designed to be easy solo encounters, so unless you are a skilled player and go up against these guys solo, you will die. Just warning you. And then finally over here, going back over to the center of the map, we have the Tournament Master for both free and ticket tournaments, a Merchant, Armorsmith, Weaponsmith, and Glory Locker for storing your PvP related gear. Now, one thing that is different from structured PvP to the normal game mode is that you start off with all skills, all traits, everything unlocked. So if you go into your skills and you look, everything is unlocked. And if you look at your traits, you've got all the full trait lines unlocked, and you've got this nice little refund traits button right here, which if you press it, does precisely what it says it does, and resets all of your traits. And hopefully I can remember to reset those before I go out and fight again. And like I said, the other difference is, you've got your combat. Now the gear, in and of itself, is very fixed. It doesn't matter what kind of gear you have. Any heavy helmet's going to have a defensive 121. Any heavy shoulder's going to have a defensive 121, so on and so forth. All the swords are the same. It does not matter what the skin is. All the swords are going to do that damage. All the torches are going to do that damage. Everything is about the build. What sigils do you have on your weapons? What runes do you place on your armor? And on your necklace, what kind of necklace do you want? And what kind of jewel do you want on your necklace? That is where your build comes into play. How are you going to equip the runes, sigils, necklace, and jewel to get to the stats that you want? That's where these merchants come into play. For changing your necklace, you can come here and buy your amulet, And if you want to further customize the amulets, you can buy jewels to socket into them. So I can say buy the Valkyrie's jewel and combine that with the Carrion amulet if I so desire. Notice the cost, these are free. It does not cost any glory to buy these items. So feel free to experiment and just test things out. Over here we have the Armor Smith, where you can buy armor in case you need to reset your armor for some reason, or you decide to change pieces, you want to go back to the original look, what have you. More importantly, the runes. You have all the superior runes available to you. As to which runes do you want to use, that is going to entirely depend on your build. And finally, we have the Weaponsmith. Now there's two different brands of weapons. One is the standard weapon that has a damage range. And then they've got steady items. Now you notice the difference here. The PvP axe does a damage of 857 to 1048. The steady axe does 127 to 127. The steady weapons are mainly used to test your builds, to see, okay, well, if I tweak this stat like this, or I equip this rune set, how does this affect my damage? You do not want to take these things into a PvP match, because you will get crushed. Make sure you're on the regular weapons. You can also buy all of the sigils, and again, they are all superiors, and all of them are available. Now, if this seems a little bit overwhelming, don't worry about it. Whenever you first enter into the mists, you are given a default loadout for your character. Default weapons, default sigils, default runes on your armor, everything is set up for you. Now, these aren't going to be super builds, but they are guaranteed to be functional builds. So the first time you go into structured PvP, you might want to stick with that. Several times now I have mentioned skins. One of the main rewards you get while playing through sPvP is skin unlocks, so that way you can customize how your character looks in battle. These are all stored in your PvP locker. Since these are collectibles, while you're in your inventory, you can say deposit all collectibles, and well, if you happen to have any PvP skins available, they will be automatically stored in here. The one downside to this is that you cannot store multiple copies. So if you want to, say, use 2 daggers, it's going to run into a little bit of problem. You're going to have to keep the second dagger in your bank. It's a little bit annoying, and hopefully someday they'll fix that, but for now, that's how it works. These are just skins. The damage is the same, so I don't think I actually have any swords. Here we go. I've got a Peacemaker sword, 905 to 1000, and if I take a look at my standard PvP sword of strength, 905 to 1000. So as I was saying before, these are purely cosmetic. They have no impact whatsoever on how things work. You can also store the runes and sigils if you want. It's a little bit pointless, seeing as how you can just go and buy them at will. You can also salvage your equipment, but that'll be kept for a different video. And now, how do you actually get into matches? The one that you will want to go into at the start is the PvP browser for quick matches. As I slowly run over here. This guy over here, cross swords over him. Tell him yes, show me the game browser, and it shows you a list of matches. Now, the quick matches are 8 versus 8 games. And honestly, your best bet is to click on Play Now, because it's going to place you in a game based on your cumulative glory amount. So if you are an absolute newbie, the game will do its best to put you with other absolute newbies, so that way you don't get curb stomped. If you join a game directly, you may or may not be joining into a game that has people that's been around for a while, and that can be kind of a frustrating experience. So it's best for the first few times to click on Play Now. You can also do some filters. By default, I usually have Hide Empty and Hide Full games. But if you check those off and refresh the list, you will see that now I can see full and empty games. You can sort by game name. You can sort by which map is the game on. And you can sort by players, which is useful if you want to try and find an empty map to do some scrimmaging on. Turn my filters back on. The final spot, come back over here for, is the Tournament Master. Once you've gotten some more experience, you can come over here and play in a tournament, which is also necessary for doing your monthly achievements. There are two types of tournaments. You have paid tournaments, which require 5 tournament tickets per player to enter, and you've got free tournaments, which do not require tournament tickets. I would strongly recommend staying away from the ticket tournaments because this is where the pro teams play. Notice the first place reward for a ticket tournament is 120 gems. That's right, you can get gems by playing sPvP. Don't expect to win that unless you've got some skill. There are some seriously good people in here. Even on the free side, you can run into some pretty darn good people. But they tends to be a little bit nicer. Now the tournaments are 5 versus 5 games, so the dynamics tend to be a little bit different. And I lied when I said that was the last thing. This is the last thing. I almost forgot about him because I never use him. And that is the Mystic Forge. This is here because random numbers being what they are, you're going to get duplicate PvP items, you're going to want to salvage them, you're going to get tokens and dust and all sorts of stuff, and you can combine those in here to try for a second chance at skins that you have not unlocked yet. And that covers the Heart of the Mist PvP lobby. The next video will cover how the actual matches work.